ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your kind association. And we'll get started. We were discussing Bhagavad Gita Chapter 3, and we discussed till verse number 35 last time. So we will start from verse number 36. So we discussed in our previous session how Lord Krishna was teaching that it is better to do one's own job, even though there may be some imperfections, rather than trying to do another person's duty. And also, Krishna was explaining that one has to control one's mind, because there are two functions of the mind, Sankalpa and Vikalpa. Attraction, attachment, and aversion. So mind always says, I want this, I don't want that. I want this to happen, I don't want that to happen. So mind is always planning. And if the mind is not regulated, then the mind can actually make us go crazy. So many desires. Like once a senior Vaishnava, His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj, he was telling that if all the trees in the world were pens, if all the ocean water was ink, and the whole infinite space sky was a paper, and we were to write our desires, I want this, I want this, I don't want this to happen, I want this to happen, there would not be enough space. Like Mahatma Gandhi said, there is enough for one man's needs, one man's need, but there is not enough for one man's greed, because there is no end. Mind always wants something new. Ye dil mange more, like they say. Always wants more and more, never satisfied. What is that we discussed last time? As a rule, man is a fool. When it is hot, he wants it cool. You give it cold, he wants it hot. Always wanting that what is not. That is the mind. So now Arjun is going to ask a question in verse number 36. Arjun said, O descendant of Vrishni, that is Krishna, O Krishna, by what is one impelled to perform sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So in this verse, there are two words that are significant. So here, Arjun is saying that Papam charati purusha. This is the second line. Papam charati purusha. What is it that makes a man perform sinful activities? And how we perform sinful activities? Look at the first word of the third line. What is it? Anichan. Means ichha nahi hai. I don't want to do it. I know it is wrong, but still, as if by force, we do it. So what is it that makes us perform sinful activities, even though we know that we are not supposed to do it? And look at the first word of the last line, fourth line, balad, as if we are being forced. Balad means as if by force we are made to commit those activities. We know they are not right. We know we are not supposed to do it. So this is Arjun's question, very important question, that what is it that makes us commit sinful activities? Isn't it an important question? We all commit sins, and there is a corrections department or a prison department where all the people who commit sins or break the laws, they are punished. The question is why people commit sins. Arjuna is asking such an important question, and Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is going to give an answer. Everybody is interested to know why a person commits sin. Hare Krishna. That is Arjun's question. Verse number 37. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, said, why we perform sin, even though we don't want to, even though we know it's wrong, as if by force we do it. Why? Answer. Lord Krishna said, it is lust only, O Arjun, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and which is later transformed into wrath or anger, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So this verse is very important, and we'll read the verse. Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyena iha vairinam. Vairinam. Vairi means enemy. This lust is our enemy. But in the material world, lust is projected as if it's a necessity. It's a great thing. And there are medicines to increase lust. There are aphrodisiacs to increase this lust. It is glorified as if it is something very great. So, but Krishna is saying that lust is what? Vairi. Vairi means enemy. So, kama is vairi. Kama esha krodha esha. From kam, from lust comes anger. And what is this calm and anger born out of? In this material world, there are three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. It is born from mode of passion, because mode of passion indicates desires. I want this, I want that. I want to enjoy this, I want to enjoy that. So from the mode of passion, Rajoguna, some udbhava. Udbhava means to take birth. It is born, this lust and anger is born out of Rajogun, mode of passion. And what is it? It is Mahashano. Ashana means to eat. Mahashano means it's all devouring. It will eat us up. It will eat us up. Mahapapma, and it's greatly sinful. And Vidhi means please know this as enemy. Don't think that lust and anger is your friend. In Hollywood and Bollywood and all this cinema, anger is projected as something very good. Angry young man. The hero of the movie is angry, always angry. Breaking things, beating up people. And that is considered to be very glorious. Angry young man. Vairi. This is not Nayak, this is Khalnayak. This is not hero, this is villain, because it's Vairi. Lust and anger are enemies. And all these songs they're singing, and the number of boyfriends and girlfriends we have, that is considered to be a sign of success. That is not so. You read all these magazines about all these movie stars and the rich and the famous, and every time they are dating new person, and that is considered to be a sign of great success. No. Actually, one very influential person was interviewed, and he said it should be like this only. The most handsome, now this fellow, he's very tall, handsome, very well built, and all of you know him. Very famous star, both modeling and movies. And he was questioned, why you have so many girlfriends in your life? Since you entered the entertainment industry, like every year you have a new girlfriend. What is this all about? And he said, yes, it should be like that. See the animals, the lion. Every mating season, the lion will find a new lioness. And one lion will have many lionesses. He is the king of the pride. And by producing children through different lionesses, the strong male lion is propagating his genes. It is survival of the fittest. So the most handsome, most well-built man should beget children in as many women in the human society as possible, so that the strong genes will be propagated. This was a famous interview. It was on TV. It was in the magazines. He said like that, which means he's considering himself to be an animal. He's saying animals in every mating season, they have a different partner. So should a handsome man like me who has got nice genes. I must propagate my genes. So strong human beings will come up. So he's a lusty man. He has an animal mentality. He thinks he's an animal. He thinks he's a lion.
He's comparing himself with animals.
Yes. And he's comparing himself to an animal. He's identifying with a lion. He's not identifying himself with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's identifying himself with the animal. I am a lion. And like a lion who has many lionesses, I will mate and I will produce many children. So what will be the quality of those children? They will also be lusty like him. They will not doing any Garbhadan Samskar. Those children are going to be like him only, animalistic. So this is animal society. But this is what is promoted in today's world. It's very sad. And there are millions of people following that person on Twitter and Facebook and social media. And they are subscribing to such thoughts. It is so dangerous. And here comes our Prabhupada, 70-year-old man in the West, and says, rascals, animals, for regulars. See the boldness. People are landing on moon, they're showing it on live TV, and Prabhupada saying this is nonsense. What are they achieving? Spending billions of dollars going to getting some rock. What problem does it solve? You are still having rapists. Who is going to control that? You are still having crimes of anger. People get angry and they shoot and they murder and they stab out of anger. I remember my first night shift when I became a surgeon, when I became a board certified surgeon back in India. My first night shift and the first patient was a 21-year-old car mechanic who had fixed my car. I knew him. And he came holding his bowels, his intestines in his hand. He walked into the ER, almost in shock, like his face was white, pale, and he was about to die. I said, what happened? I knew him by name. I said, what happened? Immediately we took him to the bed, started IV lines in both his hands, gave him blood, took him to the operating room. We did a full laparotomy. Later on, I asked him what happened was, he said, one of the persons I knew, neighbor's wife, I was having an affair. And we had gone to, park, and the husband saw. And he got so angry, he stabbed me. You are with my wife, and he took out a knife and stabbed me. So what is the problem here? Lust and anger. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita in action. Very practical book. This mechanic, lusty mechanic, cannot control his mind, wants to have an affair with someone else's wife, adharma, gets caught, and the husband gets angry. Kama esha, krodha esha. Husband is also lusty. He says, this is my wife, only I can enjoy her. The mentality is like that. So he's also getting, okay, it's anger, you cannot really, but see the effect of anger. So what was the effect? The husband goes in jail, and this fellow was 1 month in the ICU. And his life will never be the same, because we had to remove almost 10 feet of his intestines. His intestines were cut at different places. Small intestine, large intestine, everything was cut. It's a big dagger he had put in his stomach. And then he had hernia from that incident. It was a mess. He required a ileostomy, stoma bag. Now he has to poop from here, So many problems for him because of lust, and so many problems for the husband. And the girl's life also ruined because. So this is the effect of lust and anger, my dear friends. This is one example that I saw on the first day. Now I have seen so many such examples, and all of you know. We read in the newspapers. All the problems in the world, my dear friends, if you really go to the root cause, it is lust, anger, and greed. And Bhagavad Gita teaches exactly how to deal with lust, with anger, and with greed. Trividham narakashesam dwaram nashanam atmana kama krodha tatha lobhas tasmadetat trayam tyajet. Krishna tells us that we have to give up kam, lust, krodh, anger, and lobh, greed. These three are Trividham narakashedam dwaram, 3 doors to narak, hell. There are 3 doors to it. If somebody wants to enter hell, there are 3 doors. Door 1, door 2, door 3. Door 1 is lust, door 2 is anger, and door number 3 is greed. Develop these 3 qualities, become a lion, lusty lion, human lion, and you'll go to hell. Become greedy for more enjoyment, more money, and you'll go to hell. And be an angry young man. Amitabh Bachchan, breaking furniture, breaking people's bones, and throwing people here and there, and he's a hero. Angry young man. So you do that, and your youth will not last. You're angry young man, your youth will not last. You'll certainly not be a man in your next life because you'll be an animal, and you will not remain young forever. And your anger will go into fear. Your anger will transform into fear when the Yamdutas beat you. So anger, lust, and greed are not good. These are enemies, but they are unfortunately glorified in today's society. It's very sad. But Srila Prabhupada is like a messenger from the spiritual world, giving us a completely different perspective, making us see the world through the eyes of the scriptures, Shastra Chakshu. So Krishna is saying that by contact with mode of passion, we develop lust. Now, what is mode of passion? We discuss these 3 modes, and of course, we will discuss them later on. There is one full chapter talking about the 3 modes of material nature in Bhagavad Gita. But there are 3 modes: giving charity, gaining spiritual knowledge, being peaceful, being kind, helping others. This is mode of goodness, Sattva Gun. Being clean, taking a bath, brushing one's teeth nicely, having good hygiene. This is all mode of goodness. Mode of passion means wanting respect, enjoying. I want this, I want that, I want to be a millionaire, I want to have a big house, I want this car, that car. All these desires is mode of passion. I want respect, I want people to recognize me, I want fame, I want to be the number one. Like Shah Rukh Khan was asked in an interview that, Shah Rukh Khan, how do you feel about, these 2-3 new movie stars were named. What do you think about these movie stars competing with you? And our Shah Rukh Khan says, not our, but Shah Rukh Khan, Bollywood Shah Rukh Khan says, competitors? I don't have any competition. Someone showed me this interview that, Prabhu, what do you have to say about this? I don't know, who am I to comment about this Mahajan of the Bollywood world? So I don't have any competition. So this mentality that I am the best, I am the king of Bollywood, I am Sher Khan of Bollywood. So this mentality is mode of passion. I want to be number one. I want to be the best. I want people to appreciate. I remember when Rajesh Khanna, I know this Mataji, when Rajesh Khanna got married to one heroine, one Bollywood star, there were ladies who committed suicide. The Rajesh Khanna, he was a big star. Now, Mallika said, what? Well, he was, I don't know, who is a top star now? Whoever it is, he was like that in those days, in the superstar in the 60s and 70s, no, 70s, I think, Rajesh Khanna. So they committed suicide. And there was this one Mataji I know, she wrote a love letter with her own blood. She wrote a love letter to Rajesh Khanna with her own blood. What is this? Why are you marrying her? I mean, So this is all mode of passion. Wanting people to follow, fan following, this is all mode of passion. Enjoy. I want to enjoy everything in this world. I am the Lord. That is, I am the enjoyer. That is mode of passion. And what is mode of ignorance? Ignorance means having complete disregard for what other people think and feel, hurting them, or being completely lazy, just completely intoxicated and drunk and being in our own world, completely unaware. Pramad avastha, it is called, like madness, state of madness and delusion, illusion, ignorance. That is mode of ignorance, tamogun, mode of darkness. So this mode of passion means the tendency to enjoy. From this mode of passion, we develop lust. Now we have to be careful, my dear friends. We all meet people who are very, very ambitious, cutthroat competition, very competitive, and always trying to get ahead of the rat race, they call it, rat race. My Guru Maharaj says that the problem with the rat race is, even if you come first, you're still a rat. So people who want to, win the rat race, these are all in the mode of passion. If we associate with such people or with such ideas, such tendencies, we acquire mode of passion. And here Krishna is saying, problem starts. It is lust only, Arjun, which is born of contact with material mode of passion. So if we associate with people or ideas that increase our passion, it will give rise to lust. Like I was talking to one person one day, I'd gone and met him for some reason, and he was telling me that, I really want to become a millionaire. I really want to become a millionaire, and I am just looking for ways and ideas how I can, I'm just completely occupied. And he was saying that I'm not able to really focus on my chanting or reading. I just want thinking of ways, like, should I invest in gold, or should I invest in cryptocurrency? Should I invest in real estate? Should I invest in stocks? Or should I invest in like a rental property in Destin? Things like that. I want to be a millionaire. I'm just looking for ideas how I can do it. Seriously, this is a friend of mine, which means he's a devotee. And he said, I cannot focus on my japa and on my sadhana because I'm obsessed with this idea that I want to be a millionaire. Who wants to be a millionaire? I think there was a program. Who wants to be a millionaire? Yeah, he wants to be a millionaire. He wants to be a millionaire. And he was disturbed. So this is mode of passion. Now this mode of passion is going to transform into lust. Because lust is not just enjoying with the opposite sex, but lust is also a desire to acquire things. Enjoy anything. Any enjoying mentality is lust. Calm. Lust is calm. But calm also means kamna. Kamna means desires. मेरी कामना है कि मैं ये हासिल करूं, ये प्राप्त करूं. So kamna means any desire, material desire. Any material desire is lust. So mode of passion gives rise to lust. Now, let's analyze this. There are 3 gates to hell. What are they?
Lust, anger, greed.
By contacting mode of passion, by associating with people who are competitive, very ambitious, passionate, we get, by associating with people and ideas of mode of passion, we get, from passion comes lust. Okay, so now we have got lust. If lust is fulfilled, then what happens?
Greed.
Want more. Ye dil mange?
No.
Ye dil mange more. I want more. If lust is fulfilled, I want more. This is nice. It's enjoyable. I want more of this. Different variety now. First, I was eating pani puri on the street. Now I want to eat pani puri in a 5-star hotel. So you want more. And what if lust is not fulfilled? What happened to Ravan? Yes. He was so angry. He waged a whole war. In that war, he lost his sons. He lost his brother. He lost his kingdom. He lost his own life. But still he's fighting. This is the power of lust. Ravan represents lust. All these 6 demons, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravan, Kumbhakaran, Shishupal and Dhantavakra, they represent the Shad Ripu. Shad means 6, Ripu means enemy. The 6 anarthas in our heart. So Hiranyaksha represents greed. Aksha means eyes, Hiranya means gold. Hiranyaksha is always digging for gold. He was mining, he was the original gold miner, gold rush. He was looking for gold. Hiranyaksha, his eyes were always looking for gold. Where is gold? Where is gold? If you would see some Devata Indra with a golden crown, he would snatch it. Very greedy. So he represents greed. I want more and more money. And if you ask him, why you want so much money? He would say, well, I don't want it for myself. I'm giving it to my brother, Hiranyakashipu. So we can always justify, why are you working so hard? Not for me, man. For my kids. I want them to have a good life. That is just extended sense gratification. So there is sense gratification. You want to enjoy yourself. And there is extended sense gratification, where you get pleasure by saying, my son got into Ivy League. My son is a millionaire. My son is this. My son is that. So he's enjoying and you are taking pride. So that is called extended sense gratification. So you enjoy through your senses, not enough. Now I want more. So you enjoy through others also. So there are people, they want to take credit. Oh, I am his mentor. I guided him. They take pleasure in that. So that is extended sense gratification. So Hiranyaksha represents greed. Hiranyakashipu, always angry at Prahlad, wanting to kill his own son in anger. He represents anger. Ravan represents lust. He wanted to, the worst manifestation of lust that you want to enjoy with the mother of the whole world, Shrimati Lakshmi Mata, Lakshmi Devi. He wanted to enjoy with Sita Devi. Just see the deplorable state of his consciousness. So this is the worst form of lust. Ravan represents lust. His brother Kumbhakarna represents illusion, sleeping, pramadavastha, ignorance, always sleeping, the mode of illusion. He was not aware of anything, just eating and sleeping. He represents illusion. Then Dhantavakra. So there is anger, there is lust, there is greed, there is pride. Dhantavakra was very proud of his abilities. He represents pride. What was it? He was so proud that when he attacked Krishna in Dwarka, you know what he did? He's the only demon. He did not take any weapons only. He was so proud. I can crush Krishna with my hands. And everybody else, Jarasandh, he would collect, many Akshahunis of Sena and go. Shishupal will also take Senas and go. Pundrak also challenged Krishna with so many big army. This Dhantavakra was so crazy, he said, I will attack Krishna without any weapon, because I can just crush him with my bare hands. This is called pride. He was very proud of his ability, and Krishna killed him. So Dhantavakra represents pride. And last, Shishupal represents envy. We all know that. From his childhood, Shishupal was like children, they cry when they are born. When Shishupal was born, he was crying out curses at Krishna. He was using bad words for Krishna from his childhood. He was very envious. So Shishupal represents envy. So all these 6 demons are our enemies. And unfortunately, in today's society, many of these Shada Ripus, many of the enemies, vices are glorified. I always like to give an example. When I was a child, there was a television called Onida. And the ad said, neighbors envy, owner's pride. So get a Onida color TV, neighbors envy, owner's pride. You become proud, puffed up. I've got a Onida color TV, and your neighbors will envy that he has got a color TV. So this is the propaganda in today's society. Owner's pride, neighbors envy.
That has a demon,
right? And on the TV. Yes. Yes. First TV, our first TV. So owner's pride, neighbors envy. So this is the propaganda. All these anarthas, which are Ripu, Shad Ripu, they are enemies, they are projected as good qualities. Even in school, when a child does good, many times in the school I have heard with my own teachers say, you did so well, you should be so proud of yourself. And they will tell the parents, you should be so proud of this. I know they mean well, but on a subtle level, that thing can get ingrained. That it is.
They say extra, even in America, it's like very extra. In India, they don't say so much.
Here it is more. Here more. You should be proud. You should be proud. So these anarthas, these vices are glorified in today's world. That is so bad. But Srila Prabhupada is teaching us the truth. So we saw that from the mode of passion, if we associate with people who are very passionate and ideas that are filled with mode of passion, we get lust. Lust is our enemy. If lust is fulfilled, it will lead to greed. If lust is not fulfilled, frustrated, it will lead to anger. So kama esha, krodha esha. Now, verse number 38. As a fire is covered by smoke, as fire is covered by smoke, as mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered in the womb, the living entity, which means all of us, are covered by different degrees of lust. So we all have this common diagnosis. Our disease is these 6 enemies: lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and false ego or illusion. But lust, anger, greed are the main enemies. And out of that also, lust is the main enemy. And we saw lust is not just desire for sense gratification, but lust means any kamana, any material desire. I want to enjoy this, I want to enjoy that. Any material desire is a form of lust. And we all have this lust, but it's different degrees. Some people have less lust, they struggle less with. Some people are very lusty. So it's a spectrum, So the example is given as fire is covered by smoke. So a fire may be covered by smoke or ashes, and you just blow and very easy to ignite that fire up in flames. Mirror is covered by dust. Well, fufu will not work. You have to take a cloth, wet wipe, and you have to wipe it clean. It takes more effort. This is someone who has more lust. Fire covered by smoke represents somebody who has less lust. Mirror covered by dust represents somebody who has more dense lust. And a embryo covered by the womb of the mother, that represents even more. Very, very difficult. You really need a guru, an expert surgeon who will deliver from that situation. You need causeless mercy and guru, both. That is very, very difficult. So also some commentators on Bhagavad Gita have said that embryo covered by womb represents very, very dull species of life, which are completely covered over with ignorance, like trees, for example. It is very difficult to get them out and deliver them. And then mirror covered by dust is animals. Animals are controlled by lust to a large degree. When the mating season comes, they have to reproduce like that. But human beings are like fire covered by smoke. We also have lust, but it is easy to get fire out of a place where there are ashes and smoke. Similarly, it is easy to get a human being out from the clutches of lust because we have intelligence. But very difficult to get an animal out. And even more difficult to get a tree out because they are even more dull. So this represents different species of life, different degrees of lust. So Krishna is saying, as fire is covered by smoke, mirror is covered by dust, embryo is covered by womb, all living entities are similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. This is a very important point. Different degrees of avritam. Krishna uses the word tena idam avritam. By this lust, all these things are covered. Similarly, living entities covered by different degrees of lust. Verse number 39. Thus the wise living entities pure consciousness, means the soul, becomes avrita, becomes covered over by this eternal enemy in the form of lust. Kama rupena, vairina. This vairi, this enemy in the form of lust, envelops and covers over the pure consciousness. Soul is pure. Soul is very pure. We are part of Krishna. Mama eva amsha jiva loka sanatana. Eternally we are Krishna's part and parcel. We belong to Krishna. We are meant to love Krishna. We are meant to serve Krishna. But what has happened? We have been covered by this lust. Different degrees of lust. And what Krishna says ahead in this verse, very important. And this lust is never satisfied. But the mind tells us, just give in to this temptation and you will feel happy. You will feel happy. But I have heard from my Guru Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he was giving the example of poison ivy. Are all of you aware of poison ivy?
The plant, right?
It's a plant that grows here in America. It's a weed. Very common plant. I have seen patients. They said, oh, I was gardening, I was mowing my lawn on the weekend, and Monday they come to the hospital. Why? Because now 2 days later, they have got a rash. It causes a delayed rash. Not immediately. Delayed, little bit delayed. So similarly, we may do something sinful, something we are not supposed to do. Like we may drink tea, or we may smoke a cigarette, or we may watch a movie where lust and the regulative principles are broken, where lust is glorified. Romantic comedy. Sounds very nice. Romantic comedy. Wow. Let us spend 2 hours and watch this. But what is the effect? It is going into our consciousness and it is going to give rise to lust. It is going to disturb our mind. It is going to haunt us. We cannot get away. So, this lust is never satisfied. If we give in to that temptation, it is only going to make the lust more powerful. So this poison ivy, it doesn't cause immediate reaction. Just like watching a movie it's not like after watching a romantic comedy, immediately we will see the effect. But it's subtle and it takes time to develop. And then it will take effect, just like poison ivy. So you get exposed to poison ivy, nothing will happen. You come, you take a shower, you're fine, you put your feet on the table, sit on your recliner. I have done my gardening. I mowed my lawn. I cut the weeds. I saved $100 instead of calling somebody to do lawn care. And you put on the TV, nothing happened. You have a nice dinner, nothing will happen. You go to sleep at night, nothing will happen. And then a day or two later, you will, wherever the poison ivy touched you, the particles of poison ivy are deposited in your skin and they cause such a delayed allergic rash. You feel like itching. And lust is compared to poison ivy. It is an itch. You want to just scratch it. And the problem with poison ivy is you itch it. You are spreading the poison ivy molecules. So the itch was here by scratching it. Now it's here by scratching it. Now it's here. Why this is happening? And now it is here. Oh my God. And now it is here. We have to literally, I'm not joking, we have to give sedatives to the patients. We have to give them steroids. In children, we have to restrain them. We have to tie their hands so they will not scratch. Because if they scratch, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. This is poison ivy. This is lust. In fact, there was a movie also about lust called Poison Ivy. I've not seen, but poison ivy. This example is given. Lust is often compared to the poison ivy allergic reaction. We feel it is itching. Let me itch. I will feel better. Things will get better. It gets worse. It gets worse because lust, if satisfied, leads to greed. Yes. Lust, when satisfied, leads to greed. It is like feeding the enemy. You feed the enemy, you feed a snake. What will happen to the poison of the snake? It becomes more poisonous. So lust, Krishna is saying, it is never, verse number 39. This lust is never satisfied and it burns like fire. If you put fuel in fire, what will happen to the fire? So giving in to lust is putting fuel in the fire. So if we put fuel, we put nice dry wood into the fire. The fire was demanding, I had to give in. The fire was asking for wood, I had to give. But now the fire will become quiet. Is that logical? No. The fire is going to burn, blaze even more if you put fuel. What is the solution? Let the fire die a natural death. Ignore it. Ignore it. Don't put any fuel. Don't look at the fire. Don't give in to that fire. It feels very tempting. It's like asking you, I want. No. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, Guru, Vaishnavas, they come to our rescue. We should be in the association of devotees who will uplift us. So lust is never satisfied and burns like fire. And it covers the pure consciousness of the living entity. Verse number 40. Now, if there is an enemy, my dear friends, if a terrorist has infiltrated, what is the most important thing we need to know? Where is the terrorist hiding? Where is the enemy hiding? Correct? You have to locate them. That's why we need spies. We want to know where. We want police informers who will inform us. Where is the enemy? So now lust is vairi. Krishna says in 2 verses, is vairi, enemy. And Mahashano, Mahapapma, it's all devouring, very powerful and very sinful enemy. So who wants to kill the enemy? Haribol, we want to kill the enemy, right? So first thing we need to know is where is the enemy and how to kill the enemy. 2 questions. And Lord Krishna, being the perfect Jagat Guru, Vasudeva Jagat Guru, he's teaching us, giving answer in both the questions. Where is this enemy hiding and how to kill it? Okay. So now where is the enemy hiding? Where is lust hiding? You can do, Prabhu? No. Prabhu, actually, you can just see in this room there is water bottle also. Oh, Krishna, sorry. Hey, 1 second. I'll give.
Once you start feeling, I'll get another.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. You sit on the sofa, Prabhu. Sit on the sofa. Sorry about that. Hare Krishna. No problem. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the first question is, where is this enemy hiding? Krishna answers in verse number 40. The senses, means our indriya, the eyes, the ears, the sense of touch, skin, nose, smelling, tasting, our senses and our mind and our intelligence also are the sitting places of lust. So we are living with the enemy. घर के अंदर है, घुस गए दुश्मन. The enemy is inside, infiltrated inside the house, in every place, in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the basement, in the living room, everywhere. All the senses, our mind and intelligence are the sitting places of lust. Our house has been infiltrated, basically. The security system has failed. ADT did not work. People have entered inside and they have infiltrated the whole house. Lust is everywhere. Senses, mind, and intelligence. Krishna is saying, verse 40, the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Sitting places. Lust is there, established. Sitting means established. Not that visiting, going through the senses or passing through the mind. No, sitting. Settle over. Illegal settlement. Illegal settlement. The lust has settled in our intelligence, mind, and senses. Through the senses, through the mind, and through the intelligence, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders the living entity. Bewilders means keeps us in ignorance, confuses us, and covers our real knowledge. Without knowledge, we are in ignorance. So lust completely defeats us. It's like a, what do you call that? Computer hacking or that? Software, malware, security, cyber security. Virus.
Trojan.
Huh?
Trojan, which we don't even recognize.
So horse virus.
Trojan horse.
Trojan horse. So it's like a very powerful virus that has corrupted the software. Corrupted the software and corrupted the hardware also. It's like somebody pouring some sugar syrup on the keyboard. Why hardware also corrupted? Because the senses are hardware. Mind intelligence is software. So software is also corrupted, hardware also corrupted. Now we cannot fix it. Now we have to take it to Guru to fix it. Guru Sadhu Shastra, only they can fix. We have to go to the repair shop, the hospital called ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada said this is a hospital. Bhakti and hospital. Literally. Hare Krishna. So now our knowledge is, so this is the problem. Now we know where the enemy is hiding. Very bad report. Very bad report. Asaniki is hiding in some faraway place. It's hiding in the house and settled down very nicely and has corrupted the hardware and software. Senses, mind, intelligence, all corrupted by this lust. So now this is the diagnosis. This is the answer we got. Where is lust? Where is the enemy? Okay, now we know. Now we are, everybody scared now? Very concerned. It's very concerning. This is bad news. So now, but Krishna is always giving us hope. Krishna is the source of all hope and all happiness. So this is very good news now coming. How to destroy this lust? Verse number 41. Lord Krishna is saying, therefore, O Arjun, O best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin called lust by regulating the senses. And slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. Lust destroys our knowledge and destroys our spiritual life, self-realization. So how do we do it? By regulating the senses. Now, this is very important. Krishna doesn't say regulate your intelligence or control your mind. Control your senses first. Why? Do the easy things first. If there is an overwhelming thing at hand, then what do? You take baby steps. You start with the easy things first. So you feel a sense of accomplishment. Then you go to the more difficult, and then most difficult. That is the logical way to do it.
But do we say that the senses reach to the mind? That's
Yes.
why we fall to the senses.
Yes. And also the second reason is it is more difficult to control the mind and intelligence. Krishna will tell that. Prabhupada also writes in the purports. So we should not start that I'm going to control my mind first. Mind is very difficult. Arjun says it is more difficult to control the tornado or hurricane, control the raging wind than to control the mind. So controlling mind comes later. First, that's what Prabhupada said. First, Prabhupada doesn't say regulative principle, don't think of anyone but Krishna. So this is a regulative. Imagine if Prabhupada would have given like no meat eating, no intoxication, Prabhupada would have said, no thinking of anything but Krishna. Nobody will get initiation. Huh? Because Prabhupada knows controlling the mind is more, but controlling the senses, controlling the tongue, no intoxication, controlling no meat eating, no gambling, this is easier than controlling the mind. So therefore, it begins by regulating the senses first. Therefore, Krishna says by regulating the senses. Now, of course, we have learned previously that the sixth senses, there are 5 senses, and the sixth sense is mind. So mind control also required, but we should not start with the mind first. Prabhupada teaches us. Start with the senses. Someone who is new to this path, first start with senses. I will not eat meat. That's a good start. So we have to start with our senses first and then go to the mind and intelligence. Because the more subtle an object, the more difficult it is to control. Is it easy to treat a pneumonia that you can see on an X-ray and you check the sputum, test in the laboratory which bacteria is growing and which antibiotics can kill that bacteria? Is it easy to treat this condition? Very easy. Because you know it's a bacteria, what bacteria it is, what antibiotics are sensitive. Very easy to kill, very easy to treat pneumonia. Now, is it easy to treat depression?
You can't see that.
You cannot see it. It's subtle disease. So very difficult. Very difficult. You have to do therapy. You have to ask the patient to pray, exercise, and take medicines. Now, medicines may not work. Then you change the medicine, change the dose, side effects, so many things. Pneumonia, just do the sputum test, do an X-ray. This is the bacteria. This is the treatment. Take for 7 days, you are cured. Get an X-ray later on, all clear. Very easy to treat pneumonia in most patients, but very difficult to treat depression, bipolar, schizophrenia. Patients struggle all their life with it. Why? Because it is subtle. So easy to do something that is gross, but more difficult to treat something that is subtle. So hardware you can easily just change and put a new keyboard if sugar syrup has fallen. Easy to replace the hardware, but very difficult to clean the software because we don't know what the problem is. First, you have to go to some expert and then try different things. So like that. So therefore, Krishna is saying that first you regulate the senses. That's how we can control the lust. Regulate the senses. Therefore, somebody is itching the poison ivy rash. What do? Just tie their hands. Sounds inhuman, but you have to restrain them. Or we tie some very soft cotton gloves on their hands. So even they try to scratch, it will be like not that bad. And give them medicine so that the itching sensation goes down. So therefore, Krishna says, regulate the senses first. Next, verse number 42. The working senses are superior to dull matter. So now, let's say I want to enjoy an ice cream. So my sense object is ice cream. I want to enjoy it with the tongue. But I have got diabetes, my blood sugar is 500. But ice cream. Everybody is eating. And my tongue is asking, a long time I have not tasted this ice cream. I want to eat this ice cream. And somebody serves also. Prabhu, aaj le lo. Aaj le lo abhi. Theek hai. New Year hai, kal ke baad mein, after tomorrow, don't take. New Year's, just take one. So now, what is ice cream? It is dull matter. Everybody agrees? Ice cream is dull matter. Now, the tongue is superior to the dull matter ice cream. Why? Because does the ice cream want to enjoy the tongue or the tongue wants to enjoy the ice cream? So tongue is superior to the ice cream. Ice cream is dull matter, tongue is more advanced. Tongue has taste buds, rasna. It has taste bud, it has taste. So the tongue is higher than the dull matter. But higher than the tongue is the mind. Because if I'm sleeping and someone brings a ice cream in front of me, will my mouth start watering? No. But if I see the ice cream, everybody's enjoying, then the mind starts desiring, I want ice cream. Then the mouth starts watering. So who is superior, tongue or the mind? Without mind, tongue cannot work. So mind is more powerful. Okay. So Krishna says that the senses are higher than dull matter. Higher than the senses is the mind. And what is higher than the mind? Intelligence. Intelligence means Jayakumar Prabhu pulling up the app and showing hemoglobin A1C is 10. Blood sugar is 500. Adhikadar Prabhu, don't take the ice cream. Sorry to say, but this is intelligence. Intelligence means the power to discern. Is this right? Is this wrong? Should I do this? Should I not do this? That function of the subtle body is called intelligence. Buddhi. So buddhi means to understand that yes, the mind is asking, ice cream is available, tongue is also watering, but it is not good. It is not good for my health. So therefore, I will rather eat apple. I will eat an apple. That is
apple flavor.
Amarendra Prabhu is saying apple flavored ice cream. Apple flavored diet ice cream. With zero sugar, 0 calories. Sugar free ice cream. That is intelligence. Hare Krishna. I'm not propagating any artificial sweeteners. So higher than the mind is the intelligence. And who is higher than the intelligence? Soul. Intelligence exists because of the soul. Otherwise, there is no need for the subtle body without the spiritual body. Soul means a spiritual body. We discussed we have 3 bodies. Spiritual body, our real self. Subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and false ego, which is identifying with the gross body. And the third body is this gross body. Every birth, we get a new gross body. Subtle body remains the same throughout our sojourn in this material world. When we get mukti, the subtle body doesn't exist anymore. But the spiritual body is eternally the same. So 3 bodies. Every birth, new gross body, physical body. Throughout our stay in the material world, we have the same subtle body. And the spiritual body, whether we are in this world or in the spiritual world, the spiritual body remains the same. So your spiritual body, subtle body, and the physical gross body. Jivatma, Siddha Swarup. Then we have the Karana Sharir or Sukshma Sharir, subtle body. And we have this Bhautik Deha, this gross body. Sthul Sharir. Thank you. Sthul Sharir. So now, higher than dull matter is, all of you tell me, higher than dull matter is our Indriya, senses, working senses. Correct. Higher than working senses? Mind. Higher than the mind? And higher than the intelligence? Soul. Verse number 43, last verse of this chapter, and we'll stop here. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence. O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence called Krishna Consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. By spiritual strength and by spiritual intelligence, Vivek Buddhi, spiritual intelligence, Krishna Consciousness, Prabhupada says. By Krishna Consciousness, we can steady the mind. So, how does our intelligence? So Krishna is saying you have to control the mind and the senses. How do you control? The mind will control the senses. If mind mein ichha hi nahi hai, if mind doesn't have the desire to eat ice cream, then do we have to worry about ice cream? Our problem is because mind is demanding. So we have to control the mind. How do we control the mind? Who is mind's boss? Intelligence. Okay. Intelligence we understand is the discerning ability, which tells us that, okay, you want ice cream, but blood sugar is 500. Don't take it. It's not good. Take something healthy. That is intelligence. Now, how do you develop intelligence? How do you strengthen your intelligence? How do you sharpen your intelligence? It is by Krishna consciousness. And what is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness means chanting the names of Krishna, hearing the message of Krishna, and hearing about Krishna from devotees of Krishna. Can you tell what is Krishna consciousness? Chanting Krishna's names, hearing the message of Krishna like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and associating with devotees and hearing about Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's activities, Krishna's qualities from the devotees of Krishna. Shravanam Kirtanam Smaranam. This is Krishna consciousness. Chanting Krishna's names, hearing about Krishna, being in the association of devotees and reading Krishna's message, hearing Krishna's message. This is Krishna consciousness. If we do this through the scriptures, we get intelligence. Now see, we have been living in this world for so many decades, all of us. Did we know such a systematic analysis of what is the problem, what is our diagnosis, where the enemy is, how to control the enemy? No. But by reading just a few verses of Bhagavad Gita, now we have got the answer to all these questions. What is the diagnosis? What is the problem with us?
Lust.
Material desires, lust. Okay. Okay, so let me satisfy the lust. What is the harm? What is the big deal? What will happen if I satisfy my lust? Okay, let's not satisfy the lust. Let's starve ourselves. What will happen if we do that? Anger. And all three, lust, anger, greed, are Trividham Narakash Idam. Dwaram.
Leg walks up to hell. AG. Lust, anger, greed.
Very nice. Very nice. So they lead us to hell. Okay. So now problem is there. Where is this lust? Where is the lust hiding? Senses. Mind also. And intelligence also. I'm finished. Now I'm finished. Okay. So now is there a hierarchy? Sense objects, that I run after sense objects out of my lust, anger, and greed. What is the relationship between the sense objects and my senses? Who is the boss? Senses are the boss. Now between the senses and the mind, who is the boss? And between the mind and my intelligence, who is the boss? And between the intelligence and the soul, who is the boss? Soul. So if soul connects with the super soul, with Krishna, then the intelligence becomes Krishna conscious, becomes pure. Spiritual intelligence it is called. The spiritual intelligence will control the mind. Mind will control the senses. And if this happens, then Krishna will take us. Because we become Krishna conscious. Krishna will take us. So this is the way to conquer this insatiable enemies, lust, anger, and greed. Lord Krishna is saying. So in one line, what is the solution to all these problems? We heard a diagnosis, we heard the severity of the disease, everything we know. But what is the bottom line? What is the ultimate solution, treatment? Chanting Krishna's name, hearing about Krishna, and learning about Krishna from Krishna's devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Shastra Swadhyaya. Sadhu Sangha means associated with devotees. Shastra Swadhyaya means reading words of Krishna like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, like we are doing, and praying to Krishna for help. Amarendra Prabhu will tell us a very beautiful story now that I heard from him only. Prabhu, please can you share that story that you heard from His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj about the dog? About the dog, please. I heard it from you so many times.
I don't know.
Amarendra Prabhu is so humble. I learn everything from him only. So Amarendra Prabhu was telling one story that he heard from His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj. And that tells us how to control. Maharaj is from Germany. His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj is from Germany. And when he was a child, he had a friend in the neighborhood. And the friend had a dog, a very ferocious dog. I think bulldog or some very ferocious species. So one day Maharaj went to see his friend, and somehow the dog was not restrained. The dog was open. And as soon as Maharaj entered the house, the dog just attacked. Very ferocious dog, just attacked. And Maharaj didn't know what to do. Dogs are swift and very fierce. Just attacked at Maharaj. And Maharaj was a small boy, what to do? And suddenly the friend saw that the dog is charging towards my friend. Rocky, stay! Just commanded that dog, stay! That dog froze in his tracks and did not attack, just started licking. Became like a very favorable to Maharaj. So Maharaj was saying that from this we learn. See, Maharaj connected this small incident. Many of us would have gone through this incident in our life. There's a small incident to this section of Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj says that could I control that dog?
No.
But who can control the dog? The master. Who is the supreme master? Ishvara Parama? Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is the Mataha Parataram na Anyat. There is nothing superior to Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate boss. So Krishna can control. This Prakriti is Krishna's energy. What is that? Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti. Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti. Krishna, under Krishna's superintendence, this Prakriti is functioning. Suyat esa characharam. All moving and non-moving objects are working under Krishna's direction. So Krishna is the boss. The boss can say, stay. Maya, stay. Lust, stay away. Stop. Don't trouble my devotee. But for that, we have to pray to Krishna. Like Maharaj called out to his friend, my dear friend, help me. So Krishna is our bandhu. Krishna is our friend. Suryadam Sarvabhutana. So let us call out to Krishna. Like Shachinandan Maharaj called out to his friend. Krishna is our dear friend always. Life after life, Krishna is our friend. So let's call out to Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna can tell lust to leave us alone. Let my devotee engage in Krishna consciousness. Don't trouble him. Then lust will go away. Anger will go away. If lust goes away, anger will go away. Because anger comes from lust, unfulfilled lust. Greed will also go away. And we will become nirmal, pure. Sarva upadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti uchyate. We have to just serve Krishna with our senses. These senses which are running after sense objects should run after Krishna. Let us run after Krishna. Hare Krishna. And Krishna will save us. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ji ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So are there any questions? You can unmute yourself if you have any question. Yes, I think. Yes, I don't know what the name is. It says N, guest.
Prabhuji, my name is Neha.
Hare Krishna, Neha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I wanted to know, like you are talking about intelligence, mind. So like you are a doctor, for example. So how do you stay, like when you are at work, you have to do your job. How do you balance between the both worlds?
So when we are doing our job, we should do our job with focus. We should do our job nicely with focus. Just like Arjun was doing his job on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was focusing on the fight. He was thinking which weapon to use, where to shoot first, where to shoot next. So he was completely absorbed in his duty. So similarly, when we do our duty, first of all, we have to choose our duty in such a way that it is not against the principles of Krishna consciousness. So, for example, one should not do any job where the 4 regulative principles are broken as far as possible. So we have to take a job which is straightforward and simple and favorable for Krishna consciousness. And that job we should do with full concentration. Up to 8 hours a day, we can do our job. But we should not take a job that is 12 hours or 13 hours. That is called Ugra Karma. That is called over endeavor. Over endeavor. Working too much. We should not work too much. We should not work too little. Whatever work has to be done to maintain ourselves in this world and to contribute to the society that we live in, we should work. We should work honestly. We should work diligently. And remaining time, we should use for Krishna consciousness. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said 8 hours for work and 8 hours for our family and dependents and 8 hours for ourselves. Out of those 8 hours, 6 hours we can take a rest and some time for eating and bathing. And then the time that we spend with our family members should be devotees, and we should spend that time together with family for Krishna. So 2-3 hours of chanting, some puja, some reading Shastra, like that we should keep 8 hours for devotee association and Krishna consciousness. And like they say, अर्थ के लिए काम, परमार्थ के लिए नाम. अर्थ के लिए काम, परमार्थ के लिए काम. जगत के काम करते रहो, हरि नाम जपते रहो. नाम जपते रहो. So we should do work honestly and nicely, but not too much. Whatever is required to maintain ourselves, to save some for retirement, honestly we should work. We should not be under ambitious. We should not be over ambitious. And when we are working, we should work diligently up to 8 hours, but not more than that. Not too much. And we should not take up a job where we have to deal with meat, or we have to deal with liquor, or we have to deal with, breaking the regulative principles. We have to be careful. For example, a doctor should not do abortions, for example, things like that. So we have to be careful. Is that helpful?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Mallika, go ahead.
So you said that lust can be removed. It can't be actually removed. It's like impossible to remove unless we know where it is actually. Now that we know where it is, so is it possible if we ignore it, like just ignore, like now mostly half of the world is like on social media, and whenever we see something, we have that thing that we want to see it more. So how do we control that? Because you can't stop seeing that, because it comes, because I'm on Instagram and I have my art page on that. So instead of art, also some food recipes come, some lust stuffs come, everything is on that. So how do we stop that?
Again, that verse where Krishna gave the answer, Krishna says by regulating the senses. So we have to regulate, and regulation means to decide how much time for what. To decide how much time for what. And if we don't have a regulation in our life, then it will carry us away. Example, eating ice creams. Okay, so
give me my charger, please. I haven't checked my messages at all.
Eating ice cream is not bad, but if we eat too much ice cream, then what will happen? We will get obesity, we will get metabolic syndrome, we'll get diabetes. So the trick is to regulate it. So yes, once a week we can have one small serving of ice cream. There is no harm in that, as long as we have an active lifestyle. That's called regulation. So similarly, on social media also, we should regulate. We should regulate. If you need social Instagram, for example, for your art, yeah, use it, but just be mindful that if you let, so use Instagram for yourself. Don't let Instagram use you. You control Instagram. Don't let Instagram control you and carry you away. The way these apps, these websites, these softwares are designed, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Snapchat, TikTok, they are designed by very great, very intelligent scientists and neurologists and neurobiologists and psychiatrists. They are designed in a way to, actually Amarendra was telling me, this is called double masters. He was saying that they are designed to keep people coming back, keep them coming back. Open that app, notifications. They are designed like that to make us coming back. Problem is, we'll keep coming back to this material world also. We'll keep coming back. So therefore, we have to regulate it.
You can see even Amazon, for example, if you have a shopping cart and you put something in the cart and you forget, you'll get an email that, did you forget to process the...
Continue shopping.
Yeah, and then it'll always be there. So even if you go to the cart, you'll remember, oh, in the past, I put this. So then it locks you up.
Wow.
And then when you visit some websites, you will see like that. Those are your internet will automatically start, even Facebook for that matter, will start popping up. Like you start for shoes and you search for shoes, those are the ads you will start getting, because they start tracking that this person's interests are more towards shoes.
Yeah, that happens.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's high level of intelligence.
Yeah. And also I have seen that if you exchange email with someone on Facebook, you will get a
friend request.
Friend suggestion or something like that. So see, they're all designed to keep us. If Facebook had its way, they would want us to be on Facebook 24/7. Never leave that app. Just be on Facebook. Just be on YouTube. Just be on Instagram. So do we want that? No. We have a life to live. And we have our aspirations. And we have our goal. So don't let these apps control you. You control them for your advantage, for your seva, for your service, for your profession. That is called regulation. And that ability to regulate will come from Vivek Buddhi, from intelligence. And intelligence gets sharpened by spiritual practices. Bhagavad Gita, like that. So we have to, like we keep going back to these apps, we have to keep going back to Bhagavad Gita, to Hari Katha, to Hari Naam. And then when we develop taste in these things, then we don't find taste in this social media and the talks of this world. I was talking to one Mataji and she was saying, this is very nice. She was saying that she's actually a journalist. And she was saying growing up, she used to love to watch the YouTube videos of Miss Universe, Miss World. When they are asked that question, I think you have to answer a question in a few minutes. So those questions are a lot of views and people like to watch. What did this Miss, what answer did she give? You know, people want to watch. So she had so much interest in that. But she said, after I started hearing Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Varga and their speech, the opinions of these 16 and 18-year-old Miss Universe and Miss World, with all due respect to them, those answers are so shallow and so superficial and so mundane. I don't want it. I don't want to hear them.
Because
This is a higher taste. This is a higher taste. Like, it's like, you know, if there is a lollipop that has fallen on the road and someone is really hungry and looking at it, oh, I'm going to wipe it and I'm going to, nobody's watching, I'm going to eat it. But if someone has lovingly invited you and there is a nice variety of freshly cooked foodstuffs that have been offered to Krishna, nice hot cooked in ghee, and with love someone is serving you, Mallika, come beta, eat. Someone nice is serving you. So your mind will not go to that lollipop on the road that you just saw while you came here. Tyaktva turnam ashesha mandalapati shreni mela tuchchava. You had feast in the morning?
Same exactly. We had devotees of home, we went in the morning. We had feast.
Feast, you had a feast. So if that feast is awaiting you,
And they left the lollipop for me.
and when you throw that lollipop, I will pick it up as your maha. So like that. So it's a higher taste. Shripad Yamunacharya ji, Yadavadhi. Can you tell that verse? I don't know that verse. Amarendra is very humble. So Srila Prabhupada quotes that verse in one of the purports of Bhagavad Gita, that Shripad Yamunacharya, the spiritual preceptor of Shripad Ramanujacharya, have you discussed his story? How he was a king? In one of the classes, I think we have discussed how he was a very great king. And then his grandfather was Sri Nabji. And how he became a devotee. I think in the temple we discussed once, how he became a devotee. So after he became a devotee, a very pure devotee, he wrote this verse, that now when I think of sense gratification, my lips curl in distaste. Nahi chahiye. I don't want. This is tuchha. This is not worth enjoying. And I spit at the thought, he says. He says, goes to such an extreme degree. And in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says that Ehi samsparshara bhoga dukkha yona vajayate adayantavanta kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. That these different sense gratifications, they are born from contact of the senses with the sense object. So they have a beginning and they have an end. Adayantavanta kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. But a Buddha, an intelligent person, na teshu ramate, will not take pleasure in these sense gratificatory activities. And they are temporary. How long does any enjoyment in this world last? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But Krishna consciousness, 3 hours, 4 hours you do kirtan, 8 hours a day you do kirtan in Sadhu Sangha, in Vrindavan, 24 hours kirtan in Vrindavan, Srimad Indra Prabhu. Prabhupada said, never come down, always go high, high, high. There is 24 hours kirtan in Krishna Balram Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srimad Indra Prabhu started. 24 hours sense gratification, spiritual sense gratification, ultimate sense gratification. What is the need for all these things? So that is real life. So is that okay? Last question, Rashmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Prabhuji, like every day, right, we hear to Bhagavatam and we get some lessons that we want to practice, and then we read Bhagavad Gita and we have some lessons. So sometimes I feel like, you know, when we write it down, okay, we need to put this into practice. Like over a period of time, it gets so much piled up, like, you know, to practice, and you get overwhelmed, Prabhu. How to channelize this and still, like, you know, not get overwhelmed, and like for a neophyte like us, right? Like how do you, what is the tip, Prabhu? Hari Bol. Thank you.
So same like how we were discussing, Jaikumar Prabhu and Mallika were saying about a feast. When a feast is served, there are so many things that we want to consume. So how do we start? We start with a one morsel at a time. One morsel at a time. So similarly, we may have a lot of things to achieve. We may have a long list of New Year's resolutions. So we should not get overwhelmed. We have to take one thing at a time. And like how Krishna explains, don't try to control all the senses and mind and intelligence at the same time. You'll get overwhelmed. So like it is said, paralysis by analysis. If we have too many things to analyze, then we'll become paralyzed. So not like that. You take one thing, something that is doable, set a target, do that, then baby steps, then take the next step, then take the next step. So like that, whatever is most important that you want to follow, that you heard in Bhagavatam, you first try to practice that. Then we go to the next one, like that. Step by step, we have to make advancement, make progress. Is that helpful? Rashmi
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, all the devotees. We'll take your leave now. We'll see you next weekend, Saturday, 3 p.m. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ji ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.